I still remember the sound of the police cruiser pulling up to the curb outside my house, red and blue lights washing over my front lawn, while the president of our HOA stood frozen at the gate, her clipboard shaking in her hand. That was the moment everything flipped. But none of it started there. It started weeks earlier quietly, the way these things always do. I moved into Oak Ridge Estates because I wanted peace. That was it. I wasn't chasing status or perfect lawns or some gated community fantasy. I just wanted a clean, quiet neighborhood where I could come home, close the door, and breathe. At first, Oak Ridge looked exactly like that. Neat sidewalks, trimmed hedges, friendly waves from neighbors who looked like they'd rehearsed smiling in the mirror. I told myself, okay, this might actually work. Then I met Linda Whitmore. She was the HOA president, and she made sure everyone knew it. You didn't meet Linda the way you meet normal people. She appeared, always with a clipboard, always with that tight professional smile that never quite reached her eyes. The first time she knocked on my door, she introduced herself like she was serving me legal papers. "Welcome to Oak Ridge Estates," she said. "I'm Linda, HOA president. I just wanted to make sure you understand our community standards." Community standards. That should have been my first red flag. At first it was small stuff. She pointed out that my trash bins were visible from the street for an extra hour on pickup day. She mentioned very casually that my outdoor chair cushions weren't an approved color. Not aggressive. Not yet. Just enough to make me feel like I was being watched. I tried to brush it off. Every HOA has someone like her, right? That's what I told myself. Smile, nod. Fix. The little things, move on with your life. But Linda didn't move on. A week later, I came home from work and found a bright yellow notice taped to my front door. Not mailed, not emailed, taped, right at eye level. HOA violation, unapproved yard appearance. No explanation, no reference number. Just Linda's signature at the bottom, thick and confident. I stood there staring at it, my hand still on my car door, feeling that slow burn in my chest. What yard appearance? My grass was cut. The plants were healthy. Nothing was broken. When I walked around the yard trying to see it through her eyes, it hit me. She was talking about my patio furniture. Apparently, the angle of my chairs was inconsistent with neighborhood aesthetics. That's when I realized this wasn't about rules. This was about control. Over the next few days, the notices kept coming. One for leaving my garage door open too long. One for excessive noise even though I live alone and was out of the house when it supposedly happened. Each notice came with a fine attached, small at first, $50, $75. Just enough to sting, not enough to justify hiring a lawyer. It felt intentional, like she knew exactly how far to push without triggering a full rebellion. I tried talking to her. That was my mistake. I caught her one morning as she was walking the block clipboard tucked under her arm like an extension of her body. I asked calmly what exactly I was doing wrong and where these rules were written. She smiled that same tight smile and said, "The HOA has discretion. The rules apply wherever I'm enforcing them." Wherever I'm enforcing them. That sentence stuck in my head like a splinter. After that, things escalated fast. She started putting stickers on my property. Literal bright orange stickers slapped onto my trash bins, my fence, even my mailbox once. Non-compliant. Neighbors walked past pretending not to see. Some looked at me with sympathy. Others avoided eye contact completely. Nobody wanted to be next. That's when the doubt started creeping in. Late at night, I'd sit at my kitchen table with those violation notices spread out in front of me, asking myself if I was the problem. Maybe I missed something when I moved in. Maybe I really didn't understand HOA life. Maybe I should just pay the fines, adjust my life around her expectations, keep my head down. I even drafted an email once basically apologizing, asking how I could do better. I stared at it for a long time before deleting it. Something about that felt wrong. I wasn't breaking laws. I wasn't hurting anyone. I was just existing in my own house. But the pressure was real. The fines stacked up. The notices got sharper in tone. One letter threatened suspension of my access to community amenities. Another hinted at further action if compliance didn't improve. I started sleeping badly. Every knock at the door made my stomach drop. There was a moment, a real one, where I thought about selling the house. cutting my losses, walking away just to escape her. That scared me more than anything because it meant she was winning. The turning point came from someone I barely knew, Harold Jenkins, an older guy who lived 3 houses down. Quiet, polite, always reading on his porch. One evening he stopped me while I was bringing in groceries. "Mind if I ask you something?" he said. "Are you actually violating HOA rules, or is Linda just saying you are?" I laughed, but it came out bitter. At this point, I don't even know. He nodded slowly like he'd been expecting that answer. Then he said, "You should read the bylaws, the real ones." That night I did. I pulled up the HOA governing documents, the ones filed with the county, not the packets Linda liked to hand out. And as I read, my confusion turned into something else. Anger. The rules she was enforcing. They weren't there. The fines not authorized. The stickers completely made up. She had been operating on personal authority, not legal authority. It felt like the floor dropped out from under me. All that stress, all that doubt, all that fear. For nothing. Or rather, for her ego. Once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. I talked to Harold again. Then another neighbor. Then another. Stories poured out. She'd done this to others too. Different reasons. Same pattern. Isolate. Intimidate. Control. The HOA meeting that month was standing room only. Linda walked in like she always did, chin high, clipboard ready, expecting her usual quiet compliance. Instead, she walked into a wall of eyes staring back at her. I stood up when she called the meeting to order. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I didn't yell. I didn't insult her. I just laid it all out. The bylaws, the discrepancies, the unauthorized fines, the intimidation tactics. I could see her expression shifting as I spoke, the confidence cracking just a little more with every sentence. She interrupted me, of course, tried to talk over me, tried to regain control, but the room had changed. People were listening now. When someone asked her to explain where her authority came from, she snapped. "The HOA operates under my guidance," she said. "These rules apply wherever I say they apply." And that was it. That was the line she couldn't walk back. Someone called the non-emergency police line, not dramatically, just calmly, to report harassment and property tampering. When the officers arrived, Linda tried to assert her board authority over them. I almost laughed when I saw their faces. Standing there watching her argue with someone who actually had real authority, I felt something lift off my chest. The fear, the doubt, the sense of isolation, it all drained away. They escorted her out of the meeting. The board voted to suspend her pending investigation. Her clipboard slipped from her hands as she was led away, papers scattering across the floor like confetti from a very different kind of celebration. I didn't cheer. Nobody did. We just watched. The next day, the notices stopped. The stickers disappeared. The fines were voided. Linda's power evaporated the moment it was challenged by reality. And standing in my quiet living room that night, I finally felt at home again. Sometimes the problem isn't the rules, it's the person who decides they are the rules.